TainoFunHouse. I'm also a member of Arayeke Yukayek. Straight out of the studios of Taino Funhouse. I'd like to thank everyone for downloading the show on YouTube. And man, this is day one of many days ahead. I have a 1 year project, 1 year project, and I'm sick and tired of listening to audiobooks, to reading books, um, on my Kindle, basically saying that Tainos don't exist. All right. Now we have some great people, some great authors that they do mention about the contemporary folks like myself who identify as Taino, but it's very, very small numbers do this. So I'm going to interview people, all right, and basically ask them a question: do the Taino exist? All right, and then I want to ask them to elaborate on this. So it's going to be a whole year project, okay? And I'm not going to censor any answers. It's going to be straight up honesty. Whatever you think, there's no debate. I just want to know. I just want to know what people think. Who come from either Boricua, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican, Jamaican, Haitian ancestry, Bahamas, you name it, West Indies. I want to ask all different kinds of people. Let me know what their opinion is. Okay. And my first guest come. Hey, what's up? Eve-
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Say one more time, you cut out there.
Okay, sound check. Can you hear me? Sound
Yes, now
check.
I can hear you.
Right. I don't know. I got issues with my headset today. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
No, it's all
Uh,
right.
yeah, we got a little Irish influence today. We got the luck of the Irish, but also we have Murphy's Law. What will go wrong? will go wrong.
Yes, for
But
sure.
it's all right. It's all right, man. I'm gonna ask you a question. All right. Do the Tainos exist, or does this entity called Taino does it
Well,
exist?
I give a very resounding yes. That definitely we
Wow.
do exist.
Okay, with that answer, let's go straight. Who are you?
Well, my name is El Maldonado. I am a member of Arayeke Yukayek. My family comes from Boricuen. I was born and raised here in Florida, but I have very strong roots back on the island. And I take our Taino culture very seriously. I notice I'm also an educator,
Okay.
and I do that as my full-time job. I do middle school math, but in that, I started in elementary school, and I noticed that there wasn't any things for families. So my big push is making children's and family content around Taino culture. So that is what I love to do. That is my passion. And language. Language is also my passion.
Let me backtrack. You say you're a math teacher for children?
Yes, I do middle school math.
God bless all the math teachers out there. God bless you. I was horrible at math. I just couldn't understand it growing up. When it was algebra showed up in middle school, I had it
Yeah.
really hard. I had a hard time. But I remember well, that's kudos to you, man. Thank you for being here. In middle school. Wait a minute, that's puberty level. What?
Y- Yes, and I do 6th, 7th, and 8th. I do across the board. So I have all of
Wow,
the hormones.
wow, man. So it sounds like you're a very patient person.
I try to be. Definitely try to be.
Wow. Now let me. Now you're in Florida, right? And of
Yes.
course it's air conditioner, right, in the school.
We wouldn't survive if we did not have air conditioning in the school. Yeah.
Wow. Because I remember growing up in public school, it was always hot, but I don't really remember the heat so much during the hot days, you know. But I
Yeah.
remember. He was always a distraction, though. It was a distraction in the classroom, not to do the math. Oh man, so that sounds really amazing. So it sounds like you do a lot of wonderful things in the Taino.
Oop, I think you hit a cable or something because now I cannot hear you again.
How about now? Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
now I can. Oh my goodness. It's just
How
not
about
wanting
now?
to work. There we go.
How about now?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Now I cannot. It just goes in and out.
Can you hear me
So
now?
now I can.
This is Murphy's Law. We gotta get rid of the headphones.
Apparently. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I gotta get new headphones. So basically, let's backtrack. So yeah, tell me a little bit about your tribe.
Well, I became a member of Arayeke back in 2021, and we are fairly small, but we are scattered across the globe at this point because we have some members in Europe as well. So, um, we definitely focus on cultural continuity. That's always what Kaisika is saying. Keeping our traditions alive and bringing it to the next generation. And so I'm very passionate about that as well. That's why I do my books.
Hey, that sounds great. Now you can hear me pretty good, right?
Yes, now I can.
Okay. Um. Well, I'm also I'll be transparent, right?
Yeah.
uh, I'm also a member. And I think that what's wonderful, and I think you hit on it, is that it's international, right?
Yeah.
And and I find, especially after COVID, there's been this drive towards virtual
Mhm.
distance, right? And that's been working well for Taino existence. Because I remember growing up here in New York City, becoming a member of Taino Nation. If you didn't show up at an event, you missed out. You know,
Yeah.
so it, things have changed. Like wow. And I remember feeling bad if I didn't go to an agrito or music rehearsal. You missed out. So now with this virtual, wow, can you explain a little bit about the virtual existence of Taino existence?
Well, number one, I will say I think a good part of that is also accessibility because not everybody has the physical capability of getting out to places just because of disabilities or financially or anything in that realm. What we definitely try to do, we have done naming ceremonies virtually. We've done aretos, um, and then people, if they're not able to go in person, there's been streaming. We try to do a monthly hangout, just to keep that community aspect of it. And we've done classes online. And again, it's just keeping that connection with each other, even though we cannot all be in the same place physically.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. I know you're an author of many Taino books. Can you explain that to us a little?
Yeah, so I have been, oh my goodness, I've been writing books since 2022, actually. Oh my goodness, it's been a roller coaster. I've got quite a few under my book. I just actually published my most recent one. I have learned that I really enjoy, not that I don't like drawing. I love the illustrating part of it, but I like drawing nature and animals and things of that nature. I dislike drawing humanoid beings. So I outsourced the illustrations for this one. But this is my most recent book. I don't know if you can see that very well.
Dalichi.
Um, yep, Kalichi. Oop, let me try this again.
Right?
But
Yeah.
yes, Kalichi and the Nets, and it's about a young mermaid and her family who are traveling through the Caribbean, And the illustrations are gorgeous. Here, I might take off the blur so you guys can see this much better. Give me 1 second. Let me take off the blur. There we go. Is that better?
Beautiful.
And she did an amazing job. I was actually able to um, coordinate the illustrations with illustrator in Brazil. So Kalichi and her family are going through, and they get in some trouble, and they have to figure out how to get out of it. So that's
Wow.
my little plug for the book.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love mermaids. Oh, I think we got a frozen we froze here a little. I
At
love
the
mermaids.
beginning,
Oh, there you go.
in and then in the beginning, um, we've got all of the Taino vocabulary that is in the book and a pronunciation guide and what it actually means. So,
Wow. Mhm.
yeah. So, I am super happy with how this came out, and I cannot wait to hear what other people think of the story.
Wow. No, let me. I've seen your other books, and I'm gonna put the description down in the YouTube video so people can click and they can find you, right? Find your
Yes.
books there.
Yeah.
All right. So send me those links and I'll put them in.
Yeah,
So
thank you so much.
yeah, that's cool, man. That's awesome. Well, let me ask you a question. Maybe it's personal. I don't know. It's up to you. I haven't asked you this beforehand. Um, why do you identify as Taino? Like, why do you do all these things? With the books and being part of a tribe. Like, what? You know,
Yeah.
did
Um
you did you just wake up one day and say, "Yo, I'm
oh
Taino"?
no, for sure. Definitely it's never that simple, right? Growing up we were always told we're mixed, right? We're mix of African, Taino, and Spaniard. And
Right,
so that had always been part of our identity growing up in my household. And especially because my grandmother looks very native. Like there was no question that, especially on my mom's side of the family, we both of my grandmothers actually look pretty native. So there's no question ever, like, yeah, that's definitely part of our makeup, our genetic makeup as a family.
right,
Then, as I got older, it was like, okay, well, I have very clear cut influences from the Spanish side. I have very clear cut influences from our African side, like in dance and culture and language and all of these things. But what about our Taino side? Like, and then so that was like a personal exploration. Like, okay, what do we still have on the island in our household, in our culture that comes from our Taino ancestors? And in that exploration, I felt very compelled to be like, okay, if we don't if we are not the ones to continue the culture, no one is going to continue it for us because there's plenty of people to continue Spanish culture. There's plenty of people to continue on the various African nations' cultures. If we
right.
are all that's left of our Taino ancestors, it is our responsibility to continue on with our culture. So that became very important just kind of to me because it's like, okay, if we don't do it, no one is going to do it. And then our culture will really be lost. So
Wow, that's great.
yeah.
So you've taken the. Do you find like it's a calling for you, like a vocation to do this, to take
I
upon this?
do. It's part of and it is part of me wanting to this is how I find that I can keep my ancestors' memories alive and then also honor them in the work that I'm doing.
Nice. And how about the language? Tell me about the language. I know I've seen a lot of your videos, and I've seen a lot of your work on the language. What inspires you to do language?
Well, my mom says I've always been into language. I can pick up languages pretty quickly. Um, and it's funny because I grew up in an area with a very high Hispanic area, but it wasn't very high Puerto Rican or Caribbean. It was actually like Central American, various Mexican communities. And I remember when I was in elementary school, the particular community that I grew up with, most of those kids spoke Spanish as a second language, and actually they spoke indigenous languages at home.
Mm,
Specifically, Purepecha was like a very big population at the school that I was at, just as a student. So remember always feeling a little jealous, actually, of
right.
my friends, because not only could they speak Spanish, but they could speak, another language that was tied to their homeland. And I was like, man, we don't have that. And then so when I did start taking the um the initiative to get more involved in the Taino community and all of these things, I was like, this is something that is healing, not only for like the little kids that are going to be learning, it's healing for our whole community, but also the adults who probably felt like me, like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
like we're missing a huge part of our cultural identity, which is language.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. And I wanted to tell you that continue to do that great work because that's going to carry on for the next 100 years or so on. You know,
Yeah.
with your and hopefully with the tribal affiliation, it will continue on. Do you think it's important that people connect not just with the language and the literature, but also with a community? Do you think that's important for you?
Yes,
Or for people?
and yeah, because and as a mom, like I know that it's important to it takes a village to raise children. And
Mhm.
children, and again, I'm an educator and I'm a mother, and so like it really, that's where you get that cultural continuity, is bringing all of these things to the next generation, because if you do it and then it doesn't happen with the next generation, it just dies. um so it is important to not only, it's hard to be on an island by yourself, right? And even you want to be able to have cheerleaders in your best moments and then have people to lean on when things are going rough. And the way to do that is having community. And it's okay to take time to find a community that you feel comfortable with. But it is,
Right.
it is very hard to just do life alone on an island. And so it that also goes for being connected to your culture, because uh pe- you can only learn so much from books. So
That's true.
it is there's a lot of wisdom from elders who have lived a lifestyle a lot longer than you have.
Mhm. Awesome. I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you tell people if they listen? I don't know. Sometimes, especially scholars, they don't like listening. What would you tell them in response to you read a lot of literature. Most of the literature will say that Tainos don't exist. Can you
Hmm.
elaborate on? Can you explain to them is that false or how can you
Yes.
educate?
Yeah, I would say we even look at communities here in Turtle Island as well, that we have mixed communities. Like if there was no colonization, that would be one thing, but we have to live in the present of what we actually are, not in an ideal world. And last time I checked, human beings are not dogs, and we don't have to be purebred anything. And the biggest thing is being respectful to our roots and being respectful to our traditions, and not claiming something that isn't Taino. That's one thing. But again, we still are here. It's not like our genetic makeup is different because our history
Mm-hmm.
of colonization, of slavery, of all of these things, of immigration. but that doesn't mean we don't exist. And
I love that.
that's a huge part of our culture. And our culture, like I said, it's our duty, or at least I feel like it is. It's our duty to continue on with the culture because again, if we don't do it, then nobody is going to do it. And there's plenty of people who have Taino ancestry who don't feel like we exist anymore, and that's fine. And they're going to continue with the Spanish culture or the African culture or whatever it is. That's fine. It's still we still have a responsibility, at least as a couple of us, to continue on with the culture in the best way that we can.
That's some that's that's a great lecture right there. So all those naysayers, right?
Yeah, and it's like and especially not that the Taino presence, because there is quite a Taino presence on like in Haiti, in the Dominican Republic, and all the other places. But specifically when you're talking about Boricuas, 2/3 of the whole island has Taino ancestry. So in the grand scheme of things on the island, we are, or the Caribbean, we are the population who has the most um the most genetic makeup of Taino ancestry still in the Caribbean. So that's where my family's from, and that's a big part of why I feel a good responsibility to continue on this work.
Awesome. Before we leave, what advice would you give someone who's downloading this show and listening about who's interested about Taino culture, identity? What advice do you have for them?
I would say take it one step at a time. I would also say just because it exists on the internet doesn't not make it true. You have to use your
Right?
best judgment and truly try to look into your own family's history. And once you start doing that and you start tapping into kind of your own lineage, that can bring you to certain places that you maybe never would have even thought of exploring. And it's so funny because like all of us here in Arayeke, so many of us are related, and we would have never known that um, if we hadn't come together. So it's like, hey, these are my cousins, literally and figuratively, they are my cousins.
Yeah, I find that amazing, right? That in
Yeah,
the DNA age, there's so many matches, right, of relatives, and like for example, at Ayeke, our tribe, I think the majority of us are related, right? The ones that took
yeah,
DNA.
good chunk. I'm related to Cacique through her grandmother. You and I are pretty closely related. I think probably through our Ramos side, because my abuelo was Vega Ramos and your Ramos, and so I think we're pretty we're pretty close. Last time I checked on at the Jed match, I was like, whoa, this is like 4 generations off. That's not that far.
That's interesting. You know
Yeah,
what's funny? Someone recently found my son on Jet Match, and they were like, "Hey, this is my second closest relative," and
yeah.
I said, "It was my son." I said, "Well, look at the first one. That's me." So we were like, "Whoa!" We were blown away. We
Yeah,
never knew. It's wonderful. Listen, I'd like to thank you for taking your time on a Sunday away from your family and sharing Taino culture and existence. We're still here, right?
absolutely.
Oh, wonderful. So, hey, I'll come back 1 year from today. We're gonna do another follow-up interview and see how it all went and see if it's true that Tainos do exist.
Yes. And I might
What
have some more books for you by then. We'll
was
see.
that?
I might have some
Was
more
that?
books for you by then.
Oh, yes, definitely, man. Keep those books coming. Keep them coming. My God. Okay, hold on. So, wow, that's wonderful. So, listen, El, I'm gonna be in touch with you, all right?
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll take it from there. God bless you and Bok Watukan, blessings, and keep up the great work. And I promise to put the link down below. Check it out,
Thank
everyone. The
you.
link. All right.